Hey folks, Belal here, learn2sell.io, and today we're going to build a mic drop cold call script for a random company again, and we picked LeaseQuery today. How did I find this one? Again, I'm just on LinkedIn. Whenever it does some weird job suggestion or something like that, those are just random companies that I pick out of the ether. Today it was LeaseQuery because I guess they're hiring some sort of sales development leader. So let's see if we can help them with their outbound strategy. Now, what is LeaseQuery? It's some sort of lease accounting platform. Now, I love doing these sort of ones because I can show you so quickly how, without knowing anything about accounting, which is a very intricate, complex, rule-based field, I can still come up with a great script for this company with almost no understanding of the discipline of accounting. And when I go on their website, I could see a couple things really fast. Number one, their software does a lot. Number two, it does it for a lot of different rules. I don't know what any of these rules means, but these are all different regulatory rules that you have to have compliance with in accounting. And number three, they do it for a lot of different sectors. And I can tell you right now, selling to oil and gas versus selling to nonprofits, that's like night and day difference. So they are selling to a lot of different types of, from government to healthcare to technology to restaurants. I'll tell you right now, if I'm a rep there, I don't know how you call a restaurant company 1 minute and then an oil gas company the next, because that must be really hard to translate the script. So this is a perfect company to see if we can do a mic drop script for. So let's get into it. So let's review. What are the elements of a great mic drop script? Well, we got to have a permission-based opener. You all know mine. It is, I know you're not expecting my call. Do you have a moment? I promise to be brief. Let's embrace the fact that our cold call is a solicitation and interruption to our buyer's day. Let's not shy away from it. That shows our buyer that we are professional sellers and we know what we're doing, and we do this all the time. Next, we're going to need a good problem statement. We're going to have something that has to be succinct. With a product like LeaseQuery, there's a lot of ways you can go with it. So I'm going to show you how I narrowed it down. And finally, we want some sort of a provoke question. Again, the whole point of a cold call is to start a dialogue. You can't start a dialogue if you're pitching. Pitching is monologues. Monologues invite objections. So we got to come up with a good question that's going to get the conversation started with these controllers and CFOs that have to deal with all of these accounting regulations. Great. So in the case of LeaseQuery, I dug into their G2 reviews. We want to see what the customers say. So for this play, and I teach a number of different plays in the learn2sell.io course from the mic drop method masterclass. But for this one, the right angle to take, bring together the words of our buyers and understand why they buy and what's the problem today that they were looking to solve that LeaseQuery did. And you're going to see a pattern here. So we've got Kevin here saying something about, I want to be able to pass this work to anyone. So when I hear somebody say that, what I'm hearing is this is monkey work. When you're just trying to get regulatory accounting done for leases, that doesn't sound like strategic work. That doesn't sound like revenue generating work. That sounds like compliance. And compliance is usually monkey work. You have to do it. Otherwise, you're going to get a slap on the hand. So that's an interesting line from Kevin right there. I want to be able to pass this work to anyone. Another customer said something to this effect. The benefits is that we don't have to do this manually. So again, monkey work, manual, passing it on to somebody else. Clearly dealing with leases is a ton of work. And one of the things that's mentioned here that kind of stood out to me and caught my eye on another review is increases accuracy. Whenever you're doing something manual, whenever it's monkey work, you're kind of on autopilot. You're not engaged. It's not bringing out, you're not in your in a state of flow and zen. You're just kind of like clicking the screen. And when you're clicking the screen like that in that kind of zombie mode, you're going to make mistakes. And those mistakes can be costly with something like accounting. So I think we got enough here without knowing anything about accounting to still come up with a great script. Now, one really quick thing. You have to understand how people buy. So is LeaseQuery a net new product or rip and replace? From what I could tell, the majority of people do their lease accounting manually. So that would make LeaseQuery a net new product. They don't have a ton of competition. They're not trying to replace some big behemoth. This is something that people do out of spreadsheets. It's very haphazard. It's prone to errors. It's time consuming. It's a pain when they get audited. So they are just replacing that world of doing it on your own, do it yourself. They are not replacing a competitor. And that's very key when we come up with the messaging, because if they did have competition, we'd want to acknowledge that somewhere. But in this case, we want to just go right after the enemy, which is manual painful accounting work. So now that we've got it, let's put it all together. Again, permission-based opener, it's going to sound something like this. Hey, Kevin, I know you're expecting my call. This is Belal from LeaseQuery. Do you have a moment? I promise to be brief. Thanks for the time. The reason for my call is this. I know with some of the new regulations that have come out with lease accounting, especially the regulations, and then I'm going to state some of those ones from their website, GSP 896, et cetera, that a lot of effort is now having to put into managing your lease accounting, which is just manual, time-consuming work that I'm sure you tell yourself when you're doing it, I wish somebody else could do this. Curious today, are you doing it out of spreadsheets? And that's going to be our mic drop question. We're going to go straight after the status quo. We want to dig the knife deep into that problem. And we're going to acknowledge right away that we know it's time consuming. We know there's compliance issues, and we know that they don't want to be doing it. And we're going to give that buyer, in this case, Kevin, a chance to either embrace that they find lease accounting annoying or reject. And if they reject, that's fine too. We're going to dig into why. We'll say, great, for most accountants I speak to, that lease accounting and compliance is a pain. How have you avoided making it just so, so cumbersome like it is for so many others? And if they embrace the problem, we want to understand, is there a reason why you're relying on spreadsheets that you know are prone to making mistakes for doing this? Is this something that maybe you just never thought you could do otherwise or in a different way? And then we're going to dig in and start a conversation. So there it is, folks, a mic drop script for LeaseQuery. We're identifying that it is a net new product. We've identified that there is a clear, annoying manual problem. We've identified that compliance with lease accounting sucks. And we're just going to hit that in the first 20 seconds of a cold call and see if we can strike a nerve. I hope that was helpful. I'm out. Take care.